here to talk about Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and the original, just in general, I guess. Although, this is more brought on by the fact that the remake is out and currently a big thing, and like the differences and whatnot. I'm Paul, and with me is Hank.
Hello.
Now, Hank, I know that I'm just gonna start because mine's easy. Final Fantasy VII was a cool game when it came out for me, but it isn't my favorite Final Fantasy in general, even though like I've played it a few times in my life. Mm-hmm. I know it is one of your favorite games of all time, though. So I know you went into this with higher stakes, I think, than I did.
Yeah. It's funny. I didn't even play Final Fantasy VII the first time I went through it. Like, my friend had it, and, like, I sat on the floor multiple days. So what seems like a very long time. I don't know how many hours it was.
Sure, it's a long game.
Playing through the whole thing, and like there were periods where I would do like grinding for him or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so like at the time, that and Pokemon coming out like opened me up to to RPGs like as a genre.
Sure.
And so kind of at the time, yeah, Final Fantasy VII was my favorite game, and at least in terms of like single player story based games.
Sure.
For a long time, and basically until I played The World Ends With You and then Persona 4.
Sure.
Like running unseaters for that title. But yeah, and like Final Fantasy VII, like I would compare my love to it to like my love of Star Wars, honestly. It's like feels formative, and there's things about Final Fantasy VII that reminded me of Star Wars, which is parts of why I liked it at the time. And like no other Final Fantasy game has really hooked me in that way. Like I played 8 when it came out, and 8 never hooked me.
8 is vastly different in a lot of ways. I think that's why a lot of people were really disappointed with it at the time, especially.
Yeah. The way the magic system worked in that game does not work with my hoarder brain. I never wanted to use any spell.
Right.
But yeah, and I've replayed 7 over the years. Like I replayed it on PSP, the PlayStation Network at some point, and over time, what I've liked about it has changed. I would say also, like the last time I played it, or when I was replaying it more, it's like in college. The thing that really stood out to me was the structure of the game, and how it's sort of built around the big thing that happens, and the way it opens up and then contracts and like takes stuff away from the player and forces them to try and make them feel things. Like it was ambitious in terms of like being about an idea was not a big thing in video games that much at the time. It's much more a thing now, particularly with indie games. But a thing that was like that big budget and that high concept was pretty spectacular at the time. Also, I just like its aesthetics, particularly like the background stuff.
It was actually one of the things that it was touted for is the pre-rendered backgrounds, kind of really giving the world, like really making the world pop, maybe to the detriment of making the characters look absolutely like ass, but they had their weird cheapy like quality to them as well.
Whereas like 8, which went for a more realistic style on the limited hardware, it just kind of looked like mush to me mostly.
It was pretty pixely, for that time anyways. I
like it's just stuck in my mind, everything in 7.
So yeah, I think you touched on
obvious flaws.
It's a keystone game, like for sure, especially for people of that era that were growing up around that time in 1997. The big thing for me has always been I fucking love the music, and I have never stopped listening to the soundtrack, like always. And the music hits me in just like a way that no other game basically has ever. It's some of the most iconic music, and sometimes it's hard to listen to. If I'm like in a already sad mood, there's songs in there that could make me cry because they take me to like a terrible time or a great time or whatever. So yeah, no, it's definitely a keystone moment. It's arguably the biggest Final Fantasy ever. The only other one being anywhere close is Final Fantasy XIV for like completely different reasons. This is like the touchstone mark of Final Fantasy.
10 is very big. It doesn't seem like it's endured the same way, but it was incredibly huge at the time for being the big Final Fantasy on the PS2.
On the PS2, sure.
Which was just like a console more people had.
Yeah.
Really.
I think a lot of people have still even gone back to, like, I, for one, again, not my favorite Final Fantasy. I revisited it about 5 to 6 years ago with a friend in full, and like 2 years ago by myself on PC. Like, I've revisited this thing multiple times, honestly. So, yeah, no. That being said, Remake came out. The thing that I never thought would actually happen, because it seemed like they've been talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake is happening for like 20 years now or something. Like, it feels like it's been actually forever.
Yeah, like it was a thing that fans wanted like almost immediately. Like, probably as soon as 8 happened, there were people that were like, oh, you could do 7 without the dumb chibi sprites or whatever.
Just do 7 again. Yeah.
Yeah. But then, like, I feel like it became more of a real thing with the demo for the PS3, where they just remade the intro as a cinematic.
Yeah, that's right.
Which turns out the game that showed up in was a PSP game. Because that's at the end of Crisis Core.
Yeah.
When it finally made its way to a video game.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of like since then, it's been in earnest. And then I feel like it really became a thing when they announced they were just re-releasing Original 7 on the PS4 at a press conference, and everyone flipped their shit. And then they're like, oh, okay, I guess we have to actually do this.
Yeah, and they did. And to their credit, some of it's out. We'll get into that in a little bit. But like a good a big thing came out. So originally this was supposed to be episodic. And now it seems like it's just going to be kind of like a saga. Like Final Fantasy VII is going to be strung out. Who knows how many games worth. This is the first part that came out that revolves all around basically learning this world, who the characters are, and their city of Midgar specifically is what like most of this focus comes around. And I guess like first of all, my whole thing was, this seems like kind of a reimagining. And then by the end, I was like, oh no, this was legitimately a remake with like some parallel dimension shit going on. And we'll talk about that in a second. I guess, go ahead.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
It literally is.
Final Fantasy VII is being remade. Like, it's not
super
just
meta. Yeah.
A remake. Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. The first thing that like strikes hard is it's just beautiful, right? Like, arbitrarily, it just looks really, really nice, except for some weird texture problems, which I'm guessing is because of the hardware it's on. Like, I'm guessing this is not going to be a thing when it comes out on PS5 or PC or any other thing. But even then, like, every pre-rendered scene is fucking beautiful in this game. And, like, seeing the characters fully realized is amazing. I just was really...
The character thing is huge.
The characters, yeah. It's all about the characters, honestly, because for TDP, Sean, his big criticism is everything is brown, and he's kind of not wrong. Midgar sucks. It's a shitty place because you're in the slums the whole time, basically. Yeah. Slums suck.
Yeah.
They're ugly.
Well, I will... one of the things I'll say about the visual thing in this game is sometimes with the translation to photorealism, areas look way less interesting than like the one pre-rendered scene that this area was in original Final Fantasy VII.
Totally.
Like, some of that stuff just, it looks like a normal place instead of a weird sci-fi place that it would more look like in the original or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, one of my big example of this looks way less interesting in this new version is when you climb the wall.
Sure.
Up to
that part's actually super
like
boring.
Like the environment you're crawling up looks like fucking nothing, and that part was fucking wild in the original, just weird looking, where you're like walking up pipes and stuff, and it's super lackluster. But then you get to the end of that segment and you're in front of the Shinra building, and the Shinra building looks so fucking good. Oh my god.
It's actually a pretty neat contrast scene. There's a few times in this game, like when you go meet Jesse's parents, or like go steal from Jesse's parents. The very beginning, after the first Mako reactor explosion and all that sort of thing, where when you're on the surface, like, this place is rich. Like, you can tell these people are living decent lives. It looks like a pretty nice city, for sure. The places you have been in is the fucking garbage dump. Like, literally, you are in the shits.
Yeah, like, it feels more like a suburb. Even though you're still in the city. Totally. But there's like the picket fence and, you know, all the neatly arranged stoplights. Like, everything's ordered in that way.
Totally. Yeah. And like not the Shinra building. The Shinra building itself is phenomenal. Even though OSHA would have a field day with lighting that is that bad in a workplace that's like a huge hazard of tripping and hitting into stuff, but it's very, very nice for the purposes of being in an environment, for sure.
Yeah. Anytime they get to the green lighting, it's thumbs up.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, beautiful game. Again, like, I don't think we can't talk about how great the music is. Hearing those songs redone in different styles is fucking amazing. I think there's only one that I didn't like, and I don't remember which it is now.
Those fucking remixes.
They're so good.
They're so wild.
Yeah, they're very, very good. I've missed a few, and I didn't even realize. I missed like 3. So I'm going to have to go back and get them. I don't even know which ones they are, frankly, which is a bummer. But I really, really like that you can listen to them like whenever as well. Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. These characters, I don't even know where to start with this. I guess, should we start with like the fact that Avalanche actually have like personalities? Each character is actually a character now, and they're not just like the side dudes doing whatever, like Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge.
It's not the normal dude, the fat one, and the girl.
Right. Well, I mean, it still is. Let's be real.
Yes. Yeah, see? It's the same.
But now it's Charlie Sheen, Badger, and Horny Girl. Oh, man, she is so thirsty for Cloud. It's ridiculous. But honestly, who isn't? She's so good. She's absolutely a treat to be around. Biggs still kind of sucks, honestly. He's like just kind of basic.
Yeah.
Wedge I could see being annoying if you don't like the like kind of funny fat sidekick trope. I'm fine with it, but I could see somebody being annoyed by like, oh, they went that way with it, like everything else. Okay, then.
Yeah.
I like him.
Look.
He loves cats.
It's fine because he's not the only character who's like, yo, we should eat. Because there's that part where Aerith is like, yo, we should eat. And I'm like, yes.
Oh, dude, Aerith is so much better in this than before. I actually kind of don't like her in original because she's kind of like, I don't know if aloof is the right word, but I don't know, maybe too cutesy or something. She feels like an actual like, okay, I do have problems with Aerith, kind of, but like not her character, just how she's written. I think she's fun. I saw the voice actress playing the game, and like she got to the part for like Aerith, that is, because she's like a YouTuber as well. She got to the part where she meets up with Aerith, and she just like started crying because I think like at that moment she realized like I'm in this fucking game. Like that's crazy because it's actually like a historical game for gamers, right?
Yeah.
And also Aerith is just like so fucking cute and precious and like deserves everything good to happen to her. The fact that she knows so much more than she lets on is infuriating in some spots. But in this game, it's really there where it's like, oh, she knows. She is very well aware of what's going on.
It's like, did she play Final Fantasy VII? Is that what happened?
By the ending, technically, yes. Like, if we're gonna go down that route. Her weird coyness about her not telling you that she's the most powerful being in all time besides Sephiroth, basically, is insane to me because she doesn't say like anything about it except for these little hints like, no, like I'll take care of you or whatever, and not like or I'll guard you or like, you bitch, just tell him. tell him you're a Cetra, you bitch, you know. And then you find out later she totally has known forever that she's like the most important person ever.
It's fine. It would have just triggered his Sephiroth flashbacks or whatever. He wouldn't have hurt her anyway.
He doesn't know what he's doing anyway, so it doesn't matter. Cloud is still a shitty blank slate for the character to play, which is fine. I'm sure he starts opening up in some spots, and that's fun because it feels like it's earned his like opening up a little bit. I'm sure he will be way more open in the next one. I would bet.
I relate to watching a character who's just constantly talking about money, as I've played that D&D character.
Yeah, I guess,
I understand.
Right? For a price. Every time he's like, for a price, I'm just like, oh, Cloud, you sack of shit.
I understand this way of making up for having no personality.
Totally.
I see what's happening.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I grew to like him quite a bit. I found it weird that he didn't know how to high five. Like, why would they throw that in? That's so...
It's so good.
It's so weird. Like, what a weird choice.
He's so awkward.
So awkward. That part is funny, but it's like, oh, wait, he doesn't know how to do a basic, like, friendly thing. Okay, sure. I guess that works for him. Whatever. I guess, like, it probably just plays in the fact that he's way too self-serious. And, like, he's super too self-serious at the very beginning, and then it like loosens up as they go, mainly because
it's also,
of Aerith.
Like, earlier on, like, Tifa is so clearly babying him and like playing him with kid gloves, and Aerith is like treating him like a normal person, and he does not know what to do.
Yeah, I really like Tifa in this as well. I've always loved Tifa. The only bummer I have with her is that she doesn't have the slot machine thing. And that's kind of what I really liked, but whatever. Yeah. It's whatever. We'll get to
you love slot machines. Crisis Core game for you.
Pachinko. Final Fantasy Pachinko.
Slot machines for days. In that game, whether you do a summon or not is totally by luck of the slot machine.
Great. That sounds perfect for me.
Also, whether you level up.
Oh, that's terrible. That's legitimately bad.
You only level up when you roll 777s.
That's legit bad. That sucks. Game is wild. Does it weight it, like, if you've played a certain amount, does it weigh it more in the favor of you leveling up at all? Or is it all chance?
It worked out fine. I don't know how I'm sure it weights it.
It must.
Also, that mechanic, it does pay off at the very end, but it's weird.
Sure. I'm trying to... So, Tifa, there's not a whole lot to say about. I want to get specifically in how the game plays a little bit later. We're still talking about kind of the floofy shit.
Well, they more amp up, like, she's unsure about this avalanche thing, which is like... Which just makes sense based on, like, she's not on the first mission in the original game. Like, she's not part of it until...
I think she's reluctant. Later. Like, she knows something has to be done, but she doesn't want to do the terrorists thing. This game, more than ever, really, like, strung that out of, like, these guys are fucking terrorists. They are blowing shit up. Like, nuclear reactors, essentially. Which I really appreciated, especially when, like, they do some side stuff with characters in the Shinra building later, talking, like, a dude talking on his phone with his mom saying, like, yeah, they got another reactor. I'm scared too. Just stay safe and blah, blah, blah. And you overhear it. And you're just like, that's fucking harsh, man. Because there's, like, people in here that are literally the janitor or an engineer or a data entry dude who's just trying to make a living. And they're, like, in fear for their life. It's cool. I really, really like that they made it more than just these guys bad, these guys good. Except... the bad guys in Shinra are, like, way bigger bad guys. They are, like, super villain evil, and it's great. They're so, like...
They're super villain evil in the original, too.
I guess so. It just seems more sadistic now.
I mean, they dropped the pillar in the original.
Hojo's really bad, though. Specifically, he's like, I don't know. There's something really sinister about him. I guess.
I don't know. I found Hojo like one of the creepiest characters I'd ever seen in the original, so.
Well, it translates well then, because he is definitely that here, too.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, with his lore, it makes sense that he would be a fucking psychopath.
I mean, he didn't try to breed Aerith and Red 13 in this game, though.
Not yet. There's still time. There's still time.
Right.
Yeah. Red 13, kind of a bummer that you can't play him, to be honest. I felt a little shitty about that. Like, it sucked. I understand kind of why they did it, but fuck.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah, I was going up to that point where, like, there's not this much game by the time you get him. What are they going to do? Really? You're going to get a party member that late? It's like, oh, no, you're not.
Yeah, no. And also,
well,
after you get him, there's like hours left still. It's crazy how much time there is with him still. Yeah.
There's so many boss fights, like one after the other.
Oh it's my God. Yeah.
It's also just like, so many of these fights are in, like, so much happens in like 5 hours of that original game that ending this one. There's just so many things.
So I keep hearing people refer to it as the dump truck of like exposition and story at the very end, and they're right.
Yeah.
There is so much at that end that they didn't tease out throughout the rest of the game at all. Really? Like, they teased it out, I guess, but like only if you knew what was going to happen. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if you didn't play original Final Fantasy, I don't know what this ending looks like to you. Like,
it looks like anime bullshit, I'm sure.
Cause this game, like, the premise of Cloud and Sephiroth and Tifa is a scene that happens after this game.
Yep.
Like, where you get the first version of the Nibelheim incident. Like, the first time they show that to you, which is inaccurate, but that's like the premise of the story, and we don't get it in this game at all.
Totally. Yep. You get like 2 seconds of it here and there. It's crazy.
Like, Sephiroth wants to destroy the world, but you don't really know the personal connection these characters have to him, really. Right. You know that Cloud has some connection to him, but you don't know what the fuck it is.
I think for a new player,
they're playing.
I think that's a failure of this game for a new player. That's way more tailored to us than it is to new players, which I think is kind of shitty. But at the same time, like, what did you expect? I guess it's called Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it lives up to that for sure. Barrett's great. I just want to get back to characters quickly because we're heading into deep territory about what's going on. People are saying they don't like his voice acting. I fucking love it. I think he's brash and overly emotional in the perfect way. And
well, the thing I like about how most of the one of the things I like about how most of the characters voice act, particularly part of me, is they're like putting on an act. Like, they're acting up to like being these like terrorist characters. Like, they're boisterous on purpose. They're not like acting like normal people because what they're doing is crazy, and they're pumping themselves up in a way.
Especially Barrett.
Barrett's
so unprepared for what he's doing. Like, he's trying to convince himself more than anybody else all the time. Yeah, for sure. He's a family guy. Like, the only thing he cares about is Marlene, really. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Marlene is good.
And like, they also get into that more with Jessie, with like the thing of she's an actress.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
like, literally
that whole part where like they're having pizza and her dad's like dying of a coma, or in a coma in the fucking bedroom due to like Mako poisoning it. Jesus, why? Why did you have to do that shit? That's like heartbreaking garbage thrown in there for good measure, I guess.
Look, man.
And then it makes it so that when she dies, it's even like more heart wrenching because she was just kind of like,
they have
kid.
Because honestly, like Avalanche dying is like the replacement for this game of Aerith dying, because it's happening like, you know, halfway or through the game or whatever. Like they have to pump up that moment because that's like the corresponding moment to the big thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Is you have these characters you care about that die. Like that's the closest you get. So they have to be more important because that's the thing that happens.
Yeah.
Although the way they handle that is fucking weird.
It's super weird. What other characters are there?
Yeah.
Do you remember? You see a second of Kate Sith, who I'm sure every single person who hasn't played the original was like, why did they show a cat randomly?
A cat with a crown. It's so good. Just that one cutscene. He's like, no, I guess this cat is sad they dropped the plate. I mean, that makes sense. It's a bummer.
You never see him again in the first part here. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
Turks?
Oh my god, Reno and Root are perfect. I don't think they had a whole lot that they needed to do. They already kind of like, first of all, they're like archetypes of characters. One is like the brash young one, and the other one's like the like professional like hitman type.
Yeah. They're like really drawing on how they define those characters in like Advent Children.
Totally.
Like really.
Yep, 100%. So not a whole lot of work had to be done there, but it's regardless, it's good.
Because like in that they're like likable, but like what they do in this game is fucking terrible. Like they push the button.
Totally, yeah.
And the game's like, look at these fun guys. Oh, what knuckleheads.
Yeah.
Like, they dropped the pillar.
Oh my god. How did I forget? Corneo is perfectly scummy. Holy shit. They got that guy's look and speech down perfectly.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Mark Hamill does a good job.
He's so sleazy and shitty. I love it. Who else is in this game? I'm trying like that.
There's Rufus and President Shinra and Heidegger.
Yeah, President Shinra.
I like Heidegger a lot in this game.
Heidegger's just a like warmongering piece of shit. He's perfect.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep. Shinra sucks. He has no real part except for like that, like hanging.
I like how
building.
Pathetic he is when he's
totally
when he's hanging from the building.
But yeah,
like all the facade is gone.
He sucks. Rufus is dope.
That fight is so good.
That fight is really good. I guess like character wise, we don't see a lot. He's gonna play way more big part next time. So
yeah,
but yeah, he's kind of nothing so far. That fight's really cool. Mm-hmm. I think that's it. I would say Sephiroth is cool, but he's kind of not a character in this yet. So
I mean, like theoretically, it's not. It's like sort of Sephiroth is there. Right?
Well, that's the thing, and I think that's going to be a weird, confusing point for people that haven't played the original or like seen any Final Fantasy VII stuff. Is that Sephiroth kind of doesn't exist, like at all for most of the.
He's at the North Pole, like Santa Claus.
Yeah, but I think in this game, like we'll get to the ending stuff.
He's he's like in the live stream or in the Whispers or whatever.
I don't think he's like in the thing in this. I think this is post 7 Sephiroth, which is weird. Like I think it's future. We'll get into that. There's a bunch of weird shit going on with the ending that I've been trying to parse, and I've been listening to other people talk about it, and they've made it even more confusing for me. So we're gonna have to talk it through a little bit. Story-wise, I think it's totally like the beginning of Final Fantasy VII, down to the part where you fight Hell House, which I hate that fucking fight, but it's hilarious they actually included that.
Yeah, they turned like some fights that were like against like normal enemies into bosses, like Hell House, which I like. It's just like this design was worth like really going out on designing how this thing would fight.
It's so
and
dumb.
I just like as someone who loved the enemy designs in 7 and how fucking weird they are, like these like robot monster things. Like I love all that shit. I love how they just like every enemy in this is like directly an enemy from 7. Because like one of my bummers playing Final Fantasy 13 is like how many times you're just fighting a blob. It's just like this is slime. It's like this is boring. These enemies, they have no. You didn't try at all with like your normal enemies.
Sure. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just kind of the whole like thing of what's going on with Shinra, and like you find out about the whole Genova project, like by the end, and you kind of figure out what's going on with Sephiroth. And I guess the big thing, actually, before we move on, we can talk about the ending, is they introduced the idea of destiny and fate and whispers in this, where the whole game, there's these weird things. People keep calling them Dementors. I've never seen Harry Potter, but I've heard a bunch of Harry Potter references while talking about this game with people. So these are Dementors? Is that what they are? I heard this in Horcrux.
That's what they look like.
I've heard this in Horcrux, and I'll explain
in the Harry Potter movies.
I'll explain why Horcrux came up. I also don't know what that is, but I'll explain why that came up.
A Horcrux is where you split off a part of your soul and you put it in something else.
Okay, so we'll get to this specifically, but I want to talk about the whispers quickly. But Cloud is Sephiroth's Horcrux, is how this came up when I was talking to somebody. Anyways, I really kind of like this idea of this is a remake. Like, fate has it ordained how this is supposed to go, but Sephiroth is fucking shit up, and they are actually just trying to stop him, whether or not that means stopping you from doing certain things to get to him, or, like, helping you to do certain things to, like, get rid of him completely. They are trying to stop him because he is fucking shit up in the live stream again, or first time. I don't know what stage this is in yet, is the problem.
It's like there are things. Well, things start happening, and like characters are doing things that's not what happened in 7, and then like the whispers show up to try and until they like go the way it happened in 7.
Right.
Like,
but then
if things are like Cloud is just gonna leave after the first bombing, and then the whispers make a big stink. Yeah. And then Jesse gets hurt, and then he has to go on the mission.
Yeah,
and they're fine. They're not helpful. They're not. Sometimes it seems like they're actively hurting you. Sometimes it seems like they're helpful. But what they're doing is preserving the continuity of original 7. Is like what they're trying to do.
Yeah, which is why like the first time you really encounter them is you weren't supposed to meet Aerith this early. She wasn't supposed to be part of like your life yet. So they chase her off basically, and like try to get you killed by Shinra. Essentially, by you fighting them and hanging around in the city.
It's like you're talking to her for too long because like you're just supposed to buy a flower from her or not buy a flower. Yeah,
you're just supposed to bump in.
But you hang around too long or whatever.
Exactly. And then we find out by the end that they're kind of trying to stop Sephiroth because he has no they can't have any power over him. Basically, he just cuts through them literally, and is just like, nah, fate sucks. I'm doing my shit. And the live stream is like, no, what? And yeah, again, that's part of the dump truck. But I kind of like that, like all the characters also refer to them as just like, this stuff sucks. Like, I think Barrett's just like, oh, it's this bullshit again. It's like, yep, I agree, Barrett. I fucking hate this shit too. Mainly because it made me miss the materia in the church that I really, really wanted, and I had to go back for that like 5 hours later, so that was annoying.
Yeah, you can see that materia, but then there's a wall of ghosts in front of it. Sons of bitches.
It's so annoying. Holy shit!
It's not even. I don't even remember what materia it is. I feel like it wasn't.
It's prayer.
It wasn't like worth. Is it prayer?
It's another
prayer.
Yeah. It's a low level one too. It's a 1-star prayer.
Yeah.
I mean, which is fine. Prayer is like one of the most powerful abilities in the game. So
it's true. But I've been leveling this other prayer.
Right. See,
I was disappointed the first time I maxed leveled the materia and didn't spawn off another one. It's like, aw.
5 brain cake is leveling all the materia. Because your OCD won't let you not. that's the 5-head take. So I guess that's really the big new story thing in this, is that this is a remake, or like a alternate dimension, parallel dimension sort of thing of what happened, and Fate is trying to keep you on the same track, basically. Let's talk about that ending. So I think a lot of people were assuming that it ended on the motorcycle trip after breaking out of Shinra, and then you just kind of drive into the sunset, essentially, and then the game ends, and then like the next one would pick up later. That's kind of
I knew enough to know that I knew enough to know you're gonna drive to the end of that and you're gonna fight Sephiroth. It's definitely gonna happen.
I see. I
don't know what form it was gonna take. You're definitely gonna fight Sephiroth. I'd heard enough of pre-release that Sephiroth was a bigger part of the game.
Yeah.
Then that's definitely gonna happen.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I was wrong about something too. So let's talk about the ending in general. You fight the roller derby. I can't remember the name of the thing. The giant fucking tank thing that you fight during that part in the original. That fight's really cool, by the way. So shout out to that. And then you stop at the end, and all the whispers are kind of doing this weird, like, hurricane, essentially, of just being like, everything is going wrong, and Sephiroth is there, and then he cuts through them and goes into, like, an internet, and, like, a different portal or something. Basically, he goes into the live stream, ostensibly. Mm-hmm. So, I guess for anybody that hasn't played Final Fantasy VII, we should explain that isn't actually Sephiroth, and, like, you know those weird cult members, and of which is one is your, like, your dude next door to you.
Your next door neighbor?
Yeah. Those are, oh my God.
He's really a nice guy.
It's so hard to, like, if you haven't played the original or, like, been through any of the lore stuff, basically, Sephiroth doesn't exist. He exists in memories of people that have cells linked to Genova, an extraterrestrial from a long... This is so hard to explain. From a long, long time ago. You don't have to worry about Genova yet. Just know extraterrestrial that was used to birth or, like, alter Sephiroth as a baby. And now, since he's been dead, he has become part of the life stream where he is infinitely more powerful and has a connection, like, mentally to anybody linked with the Genova project, which includes Cloud and all those clones and a bunch of people. So every time you're fighting Sephiroth, you're actually fighting a clone or your memories, or sometimes nothing. It's really hard to explain.
Yeah. It's either a Sephiroth clone or it's a Genova itself,
or your memory, which is like, anyways.
Well,
not yet.
Sometimes.
Not yet. But so the way Sephiroth kind of exists is by his memory only, because he doesn't have a physical body yet, and the whole idea is you are bringing him the thing to end the world, essentially, or to do his evil bidding by the end. That's a real, like, if you don't know, you should look up videos or something that'll explain it in detail, because that is not in detail. Anyways.
I mean, it's just like, I like the phrase of, like, a spoiler, an out of context spoiler, you wouldn't know. And for Final Fantasy VII, it's like, he was in the North Pole the whole time. It's like,
it's kind
you
of
get to that part, original 7, and you find Sephiroth's actual body is, like, frozen
in, like, a crystal or whatever. Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
It wasn't.
So really, what the bad guy that you know as Sephiroth is Cloud's memory of him, and that's kind of how he exists primarily, which is why he's his Horcrux. As long as Cloud is alive and, like, knows of him and what he's done and stuff, Sephiroth will always kind of be there somehow. It's weird. Advent Children does more on this as well. Anyways, so he cuts.
Cloud spent 5 years in a coma in a pod tube thing, being experimented on by Hojo.
Yeah,
this is 5 years was in there. You know,
it's so weird.
Hanging out.
That game does some weird shit. So Sephiroth, who is actually a clone of Sephiroth, but for all intents and purposes is Sephiroth in this game, cuts through Fate to join the live stream or the life stream and be part of it. Then Aerith comes and uses white magic to make it passable for all of you to go in and fight whatever, blah, blah, blah. Now you fight 3 avatars of some sort, and I mistakenly thought they were avatars of your party. They are actually the Advent Children, which makes more sense. I don't remember the Advent Children's names. You know, those 3 shitty clones from that movie that everybody hates because they're not Sephiroth, but they're kind of Sephiroth. Apparently those are them, or like weird amalgamations of them. Yeah, down to the fact that they summon Neo Bahamut, and they summon Bahamut in Advent Children. It's weird. I didn't understand this either, but it makes sense as soon as I was told it. I was like, oh, that makes sense, I guess, because like, why else would this work? And
because the explanation I heard was more that they're like a vision of the future, and they're like trying to preserve their future.
See, that works too. This is the thing, is that I don't fucking know which way this game's going with it. Because
people are, they're like, there's like whatever the codex explanation of them. It's like one of them likes punching or whatever. Like they have, it's like one line of dialogue people are going off of.
Yeah. That part's okay. So in that part, you're fighting them, and you're actually kind of fighting this giant fucking destiny monster, I guess, like this weird livestream fate monster. It's really, really silly in anime, but I'm going to tell you what I appreciate about it. I really, really like that you have the whole party together, like everybody that you've met up to this point, and they found a way to incorporate it so that you still have your party of 3 to do stuff, and while you're doing it, it's also like opening up a thing for the other characters to do something, so it feels like a giant group affair. Like you're weakening it enough so Bear can like do a giant blast to like blast part of its body off. It's like, that was fucking sweet. Like Team A's doing a thing and Team B's up here doing its thing, and this is dope. I really, really, it's the thing in Advent Children I really like too, where everybody is coming together to like just fucking fight things together, and it's so good. And that is the perfect culmination. That
scene in Advent Children where they like all team up to throw Cloud. It's the cheesiest shit, but it's so fucking good.
It's too good.
And I love that they found a way to like get that energy into this game.
To the point where
that
I don't know that they'll
so
do it again.
Good.
I hope they do it again with everybody, but like I don't know, man. Weird. Okay. So this is where it gets confusing, right? You basically destroy this weird fate monster.
Yeah.
In doing so, there's an alternate dimension where Zack is alive. Now, if you don't know who Zack is, you don't have to yet. Just know that he shouldn't be. All right?
I mean, he's the star of Crisis Core, of which this game is a sequel to. This is the sequel to Crisis Core.
Yeah, that'll. If you don't know who Zack is,
Crisis Core 2.
That's gonna make it all better. Now you know. Holy shit! Like, this is one of those things where if you're trying to explain it to somebody who hasn't played the original or knows of like the story, this is really hard to get through. Why this is
Zack
important.
is who Cloud thinks he is.
That doesn't help. Holy shit.
Because that was who was also in a pod for 5 years next to him.
So,
they're pod bros.
This is where, like, you just have to take it from me if you don't know, if you're not in the know. The part where Zack and Aerith are in 2 different, like, time dilations or dimensions or versions of the same area, and they walk past each other, is super important because Zack should be dead. First of all.
Yeah,
and Aerith should not be alive. So, fate is gone.
Aerith is fine for being that point in the story, but yeah.
I don't think Aerith dies. I don't think she's gonna die. I think it's gonna...
like in the later part of the game, that's totally possible, yes.
I honestly think she's not going to.
Why else do you start changing stuff other than what if Aerith lived?
Yeah, no, I don't think she's gonna die. I think at some point there might be a thing where, listen to this theory, all right? So we know that Sephiroth will always exist as long as like Cloud basically does, essentially. There's some other shit going on there, but Cloud is his Horcrux. People were saying, what if at some point, like the very end of this thing, you play as Zack? You can kill Cloud to end the cycle, or like let Aerith die to like keep it going, essentially, because then the same thing will happen where she casts white magic to like heal the life stream, and then blah blah blah, like all the same. Like that'd be kind of weird if you could like, it's basically Dark Souls. Do you want to relight the fire, or like do you want to snuff it out forever? Like, do you want to continue the cycle or whatever? I thought that was a neat idea, but anyways, Zack should be dead. And he's not, so that's kind of fucking weird. Like, I thought we were going to see that scene. He was against all the Shinra soldiers, and we're just like, oh, this is that scene. And then he walks away.
No, it is. Well, yeah, they shot for shot are redoing cutscenes from Crisis Core, except with the whispers around.
Yeah.
And, you know, the lighting, it's much better because it's not on a PSP.
Sure.
And Midgar surrounded by whispers, except the voice acting's worse because I don't like Zack's new voice actor, but it's fine.
Okay.
His Japanese voice actor is the same. It's much better, I will say.
That's the one thing about Japanese voice acting. It's literally the same person every time, unless that person like dies or like
like they recast all the English voice actors, but all the Japanese voice actors who've been doing these characters since like Advent Children are still doing them in Japanese version, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
The two that I really like in Japanese more are Zack and Sephiroth. Most of the other voice cast, I actually really like the English performance. Like I really like English Jesse.
Yep.
And I really like English Tifa.
Tifa's great.
English Aerith.
Aerith is great too.
Aerith is fucking very good.
Yeah, for sure.
And I did not like the English Advent Children cast at all. Like I did not like English Cloud in that movie, and I like English Cloud in this game a lot.
Sure.
But I liked old English Zack from Crisis Core, so I'm bummed. He's the one I'm bummed that got replaced.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also, like I played a whole game with that voice of him, and I get like 2 lines here. And 2 or like 3 lines, and 2 of them are him redoing a line that I knew. So I would say not also the best circumstances for me to find affection with the new voice.
Yeah. Also, I guess before like the very end scene, after you kill the life stream thing, Cloud goes into his fucking little life stream like end of time thing or whatever. And talks with Sephiroth, and Sephiroth is like 7 seconds.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's like the end of original Final Fantasy VII, where that same thing happens.
Yeah.
But instead of killing Sephiroth wins and then goes.
Yeah. So that's the
Try
thing.
Again.
So that's the thing is apparently what we did in this game is Sephiroth tricked us into destroying Fate that was going to stop him. So he tricked us basically, which is hilarious.
Yeah, he's trying to change Fate so that he has the chance to win, right?
Sure, yeah. And the way that's why like he's been fucking with stuff from the very beginning. That's why we see him earlier than before. He starts what's the word? Like worming his way into Cloud's skull again. Like way earlier than before, bringing up, man, that fucking the Nibelheim thing section, that's gonna be crazy. I think we're gonna see like Sephiroth murder so many fucking people. Holy shit!
Will they let you play as Sephiroth?
That's what I'm wondering. I think they're gonna do a Red 13 thing, where he kind of is there with you during the like start of it.
I mean, like. Yeah, probably. That would make sense. I mean, that would be reasonable. That'd be the reasonable approach.
Totally.
What if you got to play as him?
Yeah. So here's how I've like when I heard this, I was like, yeah, I'm in agreement. That's how it needs to start. Second part starts with you in the back of a truck as Zack and Sephiroth and like another dude there doing like a cutscene, and then that's how like it reintroduces you to how the game works and plays by kind of doing like a tutorial of you fighting shitty monsters with the most powerful war hero of all time and like this shitty soldier.
Well, so you think they're going to give you like the actual version of the Nibelheim incident and not the lie that you play most of 7 believing?
Well, that's the thing is that
they'll give you the real shit.
That's the thing is that the way they ended this game, they both exist.
Yeah.
They could give you either.
Well, no, because the version they give you is where Cloud is in the place of Zack instead of Zack doing the stuff, right?
No, I think they give you Zack in the next one.
Yeah. But what I was saying is, in the original game, you don't find out about Zack yet. At this point, you get the Nibelheim incident, but Cloud is like standing in for Zack.
Yeah, I don't think
instead of actual Zack.
I don't know what.
But now that they've introduced Zack, like, do they do that?
That's the thing, right? Is that I think they just
because part of the thing is like the way you get that story in the original game is it's Cloud telling the party about it. Like,
right.
This is Cloud's version of events.
Right.
Like, this is who Sephiroth is.
Yeah, I think. Do
we get the real shit?
I think we get the real shit. I would hope
the crisis. Yeah.
The crisis. The crisis version.
The crisis core shit. The part that they made a whole game to go through.
Yeah.
I made a whole other game just to remake that one part of it.
I think they do that part. Honestly, I think they do it where you even maybe play as Zack. Otherwise, I don't see why they introduced him at all yet. If they were going to do that kind of like reveal, you know? They kind of made a big deal of Zack existing at the end, which is weird to me. Was weird to me, I should say.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's a sequel to Crisis Core. It's not just a remake of 7, it's a sequel to Crisis Core.
It's both.
That game was all about walking into the inevitable fate. Yeah. Now we're going to change fate.
Yeah.
Because that game is really like, you know how this story is going to end. I mean, it's going to end bad.
That's literally the problem of every prequel. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think Crisis Core did it one of the best. Like, playing as Zack while literally you get gunned down. It's pretty good.
Just unceremoniously shot.
Yeah. Well, like, so the way they, like, that whole game that has that stupid slot machine, that's how your stuff works. But the way it works is every time it hits, it's like Zack triggering a memory. So like each one is associated with a character. And then at the end, as you're getting shot and fighting endless dudes, that starts breaking as like Zack's dying and losing his memories one after another until Aerith is the last one. And it's fucking great.
Yeah, great. That's the way to talk about it.
It's tragic, but it fucking hits. It's like, it's very well done.
See,
and it justifies the stupid slot machine thing.
That's the weird thing about this game in general, is that all of these memories exist in these characters as well. Cloud has a memory of him laying Aerith to rest in the pool, like at a split second. Like there's a latent memory of everything that happened originally in the live stream, and therefore Sephiroth has been like using it to fuck with people and fate and everything. Which is kind of what makes it intriguing.
Hits of moments
and like nostalgia for us. Like, it's really well thought out how they are doing this shit.
Oh yeah,
Sephiroth is so powerful. He's dealing with meta knowledge now.
Yeah, like the original Final Fantasy is structured around a metaphor for like dealing with death and then like getting over it. That's like the latter part of that game, like dealing with it. Final Fantasy VII is about remaking Final Fantasy VII.
Totally.
Like, it's like the whispers undercut emotional moments because it's not about the emotional moments. It's about, these are the moments that matter in Final Fantasy VII. Yeah. What do we do with those?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and I love whenever Sephiroth says, there's so much more to do. I just like in my brain, I'm like, yes, I see Nomura like saying that to some coder working on the game.
Totally. Yeah.
There's so much more to do.
And like, because of Sephiroth's influence, we just basically destroyed Fate. So now we can like, theoretically give him the black materia, but we'll see.
Yeah. Like in the original game, you escape Midgar and you see the never-ending sky of freedom. You get to the end of this game and the never-ending sky of possibilities of Final Fantasy VII being different.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
There's, like, to recapture that feeling of anything could happen next.
It's cool.
Have to blow up everything you knew. Yeah,
it's cool because
they're actually thinking about how to like recapture that feeling of anything, like the possibility is endless that you get at that part of the story.
And the way they do that is by forcing us, the player, to literally destroy what we know. Yeah. Fate can no longer happen. Well, it can happen because that's just like the way things go. But like, it's no longer ordained to happen. Aerith is no longer ordained to die. Zack is still doing something somewhere. Cloud, well, I mean, Cloud's Cloud. I mean, he might deliver the black materia at the end of this. Because like fate will make it so, or there's no fate anymore. He might actually do it.
Cloud really has not gone through his shit yet.
Yeah, like we don't know.
He's only at the start of his realizing what the fuck is up.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's weird. And I'm sure the whole like Mako sickness that they kind of aforementioned with Jesse's father, maybe even like what the fuck is it called? Neostigma or whatever, that from Advent Children, like maybe that all kind of plays into his plan. Geostigma. People with Mako sickness are under his control at some point or whatever. Like, this is all shit they could do. Kate Sith might be a good character. Who knows? Anything is possible. The sky is the limit, literally. Mainly because the plate fell. So there's no longer a roof over the slums. Yeah, I don't know. That ending is fucking crazy it's like, first of all, that ending is stupid anime bullshit, which is great. But when you really look into the context of what is going on, that ending is fucking crazy what it's doing. It is literally the game tricking your character and you into breaking what you think might happen. So now the game can do whatever it wants for the next part. It's fucking genius. Yeah. Like, yeah, that ending is crazy.
Developers going, what? How can we write a story that then we could change Final Fantasy VII?
That being said,
okay with it.
If you were a purist, I can understand why you would fucking hate it. I actually do.
Because if literally all you wanted was the emotional moments in their original context, like a bunch of points, this fucks with that. Like the way the whispers are like anytime that character's gonna die, there are all these stupid ghosts hanging around. You're like, fuck, well, these are so annoying.
Yep. Barrett gets impaled by whispers.
Well, Barrett gets stabbed by Sephiroth and then healed.
Yeah, because it's not his time yet.
Because he's not supposed to die. Exactly. Although, so the weirdest thing to me they do though is they have the whispers force Wedge out a window off screen, and then they reveal that Biggs is alive.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is how things play out. I really don't. That was weird. That's the most confusing part of this game to me, the way they handle that.
And why did they keep Jessie dead? She was better than Biggs. Why? Oh, my heart. It can't handle. I really like Jessie a lot. Oh, we forgot a whole character that they added. They added another soldier. That fucking, I don't even remember his name. Motorcycle McGee, that like you have a sword fight with, and he's like
Pompadour.
Cool. Yeah, and then he's like, cool, man, and rides off into the night, and you never hear from him again.
Yeah, he's the anime filler character. The anime filler arc.
That character sucks.
Who's great and is like a rival for the main character, and then disappears, and you never see him again.
The character sucks. It's actually funny, though.
I don't know. I like the idea of we have to design this whole fucking motorcycle combat. We're using it more than once, okay?
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about how the game plays.
Yes.
So the big thing with this game is it does a active time. How the fuck do I explain this? Active turn-based?
It's like real time with pause.
Yeah. So I guess
a version of it.
The idea here is they really wanted it to be where you still use a menu to like use items, use materia and abilities and blah blah blah, but to fill in the like gaps, they kind of like make you just do like normal attacks like you would if you were fighting a real thing. You wouldn't just be standing there waiting for an attack to happen. So to fill in the gaps, like originally it had you on one side, your party, and then on the other side the enemy, and you would kind of just be looking at each other until one of you could act. And in this, they're kind of making it more like during that time you're like swinging your sword at it, dodging out of the way, and blah 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 to make it feel more actiony. But it really revolves around you using stuff still, because your attacks aren't that strong, really. And I kind of really like how that plays. Like it feels it feels more aggressive than like in Final Fantasy 15 and 13. Like it feels like a better version of 13, what they tried to do. And I kind of really enjoy it quite a bit. I love the combat.
I love the combat in this game. The combat in 13 really wore thin on me but that's a thing with me where if you don't have direct control over what your character is actively doing, I really don't like it. So I really like being able to control my character and swap between any of them to make them do the thing I want them to do is very important to me.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
This combat could have frustrated me if you didn't have the ability to switch between all your characters at any time.
They expect you to.
In the fight.
I think that's actually one of the things.
That's a thing I found. Yeah. It's actually people who like the combat less. They didn't want to switch characters, or they didn't get into that part of it. And that's like a big key of why it's so good to me is the way in which switching around constantly it makes this game like not like any other character action game I've played. It's part of what makes the combat so unique is that like I'm playing a character action game where I can be like three people at once almost just because I'm popping back and forth so much.
And they're all different. So you need them all for different things, and I think the big thing for me is it really feels cool being like, all right, I'm going to queue this up on Barrett, going to queue this up, going to queue up a heal, and then just kind of like watching it play out like dominoes falling down. And then, but every now and then, right, you go into the thing that slows down time like fully so that you can think for a second. And then you set up all these abilities and they fucking hit for like 999 each character at the same time. And you're just like, boom, bitch. Like, it just feels so cool. Just like seeing Cloud wind up for a big sword attack and then like Aerith coming in, punching the shit out of its back, and then Barrett like shooting the thing in the face. And then like finishes off with like Cloud bringing the sword down. Just like, oh, that's so fucking cool. It's that feeling of a party working together, and I controlled every second of it. So
and it gets the best of both worlds with like spectacular attacks with a lot of animation that has to play out, because you can watch that whole thing and it's dope looking, or you can let that start and pop to someone else, and you're still doing stuff as that's happening.
Totally,
like you're not trapped in that way that like original Final Fantasy VII, you get trapped in those summon animations.
For sure. Yeah. I kind of like how the summons work too, where you call them down and they're fighting alongside with you. And then like you use your turn essentially to like command it to do something.
Yeah. And then they do their big attack at the end. Like
they're like ultimate.
Great. Yeah. They still do their ultimate. It's just it happens later. They're more participant. Although the fact that most of them you can only summon them in boss fights, disappointing. Like I'd like to see them a little more often, and that you can only like really summon one. Like, I just summoned Ifrit a whole bunch more than I summoned anything else, because for most of the game he was the most effective.
Ifrit's very good.
I did not summon Shiva that many times.
Like, she is less good, I will say, than Ifrit.
Once? I think I summoned Shiva once.
Oh, but Diamond Dust is so good.
Yeah. Now, Cactuar I summoned a bunch of times, because that one that you get with the special premium version, they'll let you summon that one more often, because you paid for it.
That's so annoying. That's the only one that you can summon in lower level fights. That like it makes me actually just want to buy it, and that's irritating to me. because I'm done. I've been done the game for a while, so it's like now I'm gonna go back and
I wish I had realized that once I discovered that. I'm like, oh, I'm never not gonna bring this in with me, because just having a summon in regular fights is fucking dope.
And it does like a burst heal, right, as its ultimate?
No, it just does strict damage. I think it does set damage. Like, it doesn't. It's also built to not scale. I think it's also its thing.
Oh, so it runs out of.
So you would never summon it in like a late game hard fight, but during these early parts, it's like just extra. It's just good.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's Carbuncle I'm thinking of. One of them does like a big heal apparently when it leaves. So people
Carbuncle.
So people are saying that like it's very good for early game for obvious reasons.
Yeah. You're definitely thinking something else, because Cactuar is just a set.
Just damage. Yeah. Oh, I guess his ultimate would be 1,000 Needles probably.
Yep.
Like in
just needles
the game,
everywhere.
The other game. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Okay.
It's funny because he's so small. He's a little dude.
He's a little boy. I really like the weapon system of you getting weapons, and then by you using the ability tied to that weapon and getting proficient with it, you just know how to do that with any weapon after. And each weapon has like stats that makes it good for a thing. So if you want to run like a, what the hell is it called? Like a magic build Cloud, you would have a sword as opposed to like a crit based one or like a speed one. Like, I really like that
the ability to just say like these materia are the materia associated with that weapon is really good.
Yeah.
I wish I had figured out the, like, getting proficiency, just getting the ability, and then, like, you just have that thing. Or, like, it didn't click in my brain.
Oh, that's
like,
too bad.
It's not like the fact was, like, not in front of me, but it didn't, I was so focused on, I just want as many slots as I can so I can level as many materia at once as I can.
Sure.
It was, like, my focus.
Yeah.
And then, like, at a certain point, I'm like, oh, I should be doing these proficiencies because these are giving me extra abilities, which are like as if not more important. Okay. And then like I focused hard on that and got most of the ones with characters I had. Like Aerith, I definitely am way behind on getting her proficiencies with her weapons because
you also don't have her
part of when I was grinding. Yeah, like I'm like a big part of when I'm leveling at the end of the game, like she's just not there. So
dude, I was so scared how they would do Aerith in an action-based game. Her magic is overpowered as fuck. Every time she attacks, it just destroys shit. I guess like the trade-off is she can be fucking destroyed and she has to stand still for a second to do it. But like Jesus Christ, you get that and like
her weapon proficiency that's just
Ugh.
Oh yeah, and her weapon proficiency, there's a big spell burst around her. That's so good.
Absolutely crazy. Also, she gives you the refocus materia, so you can just like give that to somebody for 3 ATB bars and fuck shit up with. It's crazy.
Refocus is so broken.
It's so broken. So you do only get one, but Jesus, it's so good.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the most broken ability in the game is haste, because that spell only costs 4 mana.
Yeah.
We're like the barriers are very good, but they cost a lot of mana. Haste is so cheap.
Haste is very good. Although
like later in the game, really anything that costs an ATB, like that's the cost. Like
totally,
it's just all about ATB actions.
Yep.
Which is a weird thing of like where items are like really useless in this game comparatively.
Yeah, they're only good for like in between fights, using a bunch of potions to level up or heal up, basically. Yeah. I wish I had gotten more proficient with the fast system of like holding down L1 and then pushing a button to do an ability that you could set. So you could like literally just like switch between characters and get really fucking fast at doing like a bunch of stuff without menuing. I think that would be cool to like master, basically how to do fights, but I kind of want to look up a YouTube video and see if I can find somebody who's mastered that, just see how like seamless the fighting looks. I really like the fighting in this game. It can't be overstated. I fucking grinded out arenas for like 10 hours. I just love the fighting. Like, it's so fun.
Yeah. My biggest piece of FOMO was though the at the end of the train section when you're fighting the like carriage boss at the end, and I assessed it and I saw that you get a weapon off Aerith if you steal from him, and I did not have steel equipped, and I'm like,
yeah.
Fuck.
There's another,
and I didn't have it in me to just throw the fight to do that. But when I saw that, I was like, oh.
For what it's worth, I think you can buy every weapon that you're missing from the Shinra building, the cafe. I think she sells literally every weapon if you haven't gotten it for like 10,000 each.
Oh, weird.
I think, because when I went there, I was like, "What weapons do you have?" It's the one right beside the training, the VR training thing.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to that person.
Oh.
I bought whatever items were there, what weapons were there at the time.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe not. I didn't really look into it. I just kind of looked for a second.
Yeah, I don't remember what weapon it was that you get from that boss. I just remember seeing that and going, oh.
I'm annoyed because I'm missing a weapon. I'm missing one of Barrett's, his last one from the Shinra building. I don't know where you get it. So, that's a bummer. Oh, no, the last one I got was the Wrecking Ball. The melee one. Apparently he has another rootin' tootin' shootin' gun one.
Oh, you have to pay the dude.
What dude?
For his... In the story part, the dude's like, yo, if you give me money, I'll give you info. And he doesn't really give you info. He gives you a gun for Barrett.
Oh, I don't remember a dude saying that. I'll go back at some point.
It's like the mayor's assistant, like the mayor's secondhand guy.
Oh shit!
Like after you talk with the mayor.
Oh, I didn't re-talk to him. I just ran past him.
Yeah, no. If you talk to him, he's like, "Yo, if you give me a little something, I'll tell you where the person, like I'll give you more info on the contact you're supposed to meet. Like I'll tell you what kind of person they are."
Oh.
And like he's like, I want $10,000. Oh. And like you could be like, no, that's gross, no. But the thing is, if you do that, then he gives you a gun. He's like, oh, you're not satisfied? Here, have a gun for Barrett.
Damn. Yeah, I didn't even talk to him. I'll have to go back.
Yeah.
That sucks. He was the only one I was missing one for.
Yeah.
And then like I was missing some other small shit. But that game is so good. Holy shit. I can't wait for so more of that thing. I'm going to go through hard mode at some point.
I'm surprised how few enemy skills there are. There are only like 4.
Oh, really?
Off the enemy skills materia. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
There aren't that many.
See, I was worried because I hadn't been equipping that. I was like, I probably missed out on like 20 enemy skills. Great. But I'm glad to hear
I'm missing one. But I have...
You're only missing one?
You can get self-destruct?
Dude, self-destruct is so... So, I know you weren't watching me stream the game because obviously you were playing it, and spoilers.
Yeah, I was always like a day or two behind where you were.
So, I started doing self-destruct strats at some point where it's just like, I sent Tifa in with self-destruct, and then she'd be like almost dead, and it was cheaper to just like resurrect her with full health and heal her. So I would just make her self-destruct, take a bunch of shit out, and then resurrect her with full health.
Yeah.
It's too good.
Like a play.
Yeah. It was a bad play, but it worked.
Yeah.
I know there's
the other ones. You get like one of them is like
there's an ice aura from Drake's.
Ice aura? Yeah.
I don't know what else there is though. I'm sure there's something like fucking amazing that you get.
I mean, I'm sure I'm missing the coolest one, but I don't remember.
Yep.
God, there's so many enemy skills in the original game.
Oh my god. We have to talk about Tomberries. Tomberries are still scary. How? How did they still make those little fuckers scary?
That fight is so good. He just fucking destroys you.
I love it.
Get here.
I love it because like I'm sure I had one person watching me who this was his first Final Fantasy, and he was like, I'm sure when he saw it, he's like, oh, what the fuck? Okay. And like walked up to it, and then he was saying like this thing wrecked me or whatever. When I saw it, I was like, oh fuck, oh no. Just like freaking out. Like I know what these little fuckers can do. And sure enough, little bastard like teleports to one of my characters and murders him.
So he's going to one-shot me with his stupid knife. Please, no.
He still does the slow walk and everything. Oh my god. And he's still like it's so tanky. Jesus Christ, that's a tanky boy. I really loved seeing Tonberries. It's really good.
Yes. No. They built him up well too. These guys, they have a fucking Tonberry.
Yeah.
Watch out.
They're just like egging you on and just like talking shit around the circle while you're fighting it. And bastards. Yeah. I love the Tonberries. I don't think there's a whole lot more I need to say about this game. It's really that ending. I really needed to talk about that ending. I feel like I got it out. And now we just look to the future.
Hell yeah. I mean, I'm more excited. I was more into the idea of a Final Fantasy II than remaking Final Fantasy, so I'm all about this. I love this. Like, just as someone who just give me just a different Final Fantasy VII. Like, I like these characters. I don't need you to remake this game. And also, like, you can't remake the arc of that game in multiple games. Like, that wasn't gonna work.
No, totally. I agree.
It's like, here's the game where Cloud is in a wheelchair. And you play as Sid.
I don't know. I hope that happens. I hope Cloud is in a wheelchair and there's this weird island explosion. First
you play as Tifa, and then you find Cloud, and then Tifa leaves, and then Sid is your main character for some reason. It's like, it feels like the way parties work in Siege, where last person in's the new team leader.
God damn it. Yeah. For better or for worse, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, Sid was like my favorite character, so I loved that part as a kid. It's like, this is what I'm going to do all the grinding.
Would it be fair to say you're looking forward to seeing new Sid more than any other?
More than any other character? Probably.
Yeah. Just like gruff asshole Sid and his flying ship.
Well, also like, what's her name who works with him? I'm curious how they'll do that relationship in a new game.
I'm trying to remember. Oh.
The one who like blames herself for his ship breaking up because he has to cancel the launch because she's still working on a thing.
Yeah, I can't remember.
That like lives with him, but he's like terrible to her. But she's clearly like in love with him.
I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Going to space, dude.
I want to see Barrett in a sailor outfit.
Kerbal Space Final Fantasy.
Hell yeah. I want to see Barrett in a sailor suit. So badly.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's going to be great.
I mean, honestly, the thing I most want is firing the Junon cannon.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Because that was my favorite cutscene in the original game. And I'd love a modern version. Like, the thing that got me super excited for Crisis Core was the fucking... That there's, like, a cutscene of, like, Sephiroth and their two fake Sephiroths fighting on the Junon cannon. Just because I love the Junon cannon. I love that giant gun.
I'm trying to think of, like, what other big time... Okay. Do you want there to be chocobo breeding again? Do you want the race and all that shit again? That's probably going to happen. No. The mini games. They love their mini games.
Yeah.
So.
CPR mini game, man.
Ugh.
You gotta bring back the CPR mini game. Can't have this boss fight till you clear the CPR mini game.
Ugh.
Ugh. That's one of my go-to examples of like sometimes they went too far.
Sometimes, yeah.
They'll have to make a whole snowboarding game, sub mini game, sub combat.
Trying to think.
I don't even remember how that sub game works.
Oh my god, there's gonna be the like marching thing with Cloud like
that
saluting and twirling the sword and stuff again. Probably
they can make that a rhythm game.
Yeah,
or like the pull-up thing.
That's probably gonna be. in there again. I fucking hated those mini games. Not like the actual ones that you do for stuff, but the ones like the timing based stuff. Because if there was like a second delay or something that you had to do, if you did it right on 3, you would fail every time, and it was fucking aggravating. Oh, god damn it, Tifa. God damn it, Tifa. Makes me so mad.
Like on the. I mean, they did the thing in the bombing mission where y'all have to press a button at the same time. They recreated that.
Yeah.
It was getting to like a bonus room, but still.
I don't think I have anything else to talk about the game.
So I think it's cool that like a bunch of people who worked on original Final Fantasy VII just worked on this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's neat that it's been to that right around a time where those guys are now old, but they're still able to like participate in this and have that authority on it. And also there's like parts of this game where like, oh, this feels designed like Final Fantasy VII. Like, for as much as that, like the wall, I don't like how it looks, but when you're looking over the destroyed, like where the plate fell, and that's just a giant pre-rendered background, I'm like, yes, this is Final Fantasy VII. I'm in this confined space where my character is allowed to move, and there's this giant pre-rendered background right behind me. That is the thing I'm looking at. Also, it's hilarious how small the world of that game is when you get to the end of it and you go fast travel unlocked. And you can, like, see the whole game as, like, one corridor.
Yeah. So I was thinking about it a little bit more. I spoke on TDP about how I think the next game won't be open world. I'm going to take that back. I think it will be. With the new PlayStation 5 and, like, probably PC at some point, I think they'll probably work in a way where they'll gate off areas according to, like, chocobos can't fly, so you can only, like, go in certain places at a time anyways. They'll gate it off in certain ways. And then, like, there wasn't really a whole lot of places, honestly, you could really do in
there weren't. That's the thing. There aren't that many locations.
Right. So I take
Final Fantasy
I want to officially take back what I said. I think it'll be pretty similar with an overworld like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like they'll figure something out. The other thing, that boss fight where you're fighting as just Tifa and Barrett, that was the fight that I had the most trouble with. Like, I didn't die, but I did not have those characters equipped to deal any damage, so it took for fucking ever.
Which one?
I did not. The tank, like where you're like in the lobby of the Shinra building after you've gotten red.
Oh shit!
And
Yeah.
With Barrett and Aerith.
Yeah. Dude, I lucked out.
And like you're just hiding behind pillars. I did not have lightning materia on me when I fought it the first time. So like if I had lost, I could have, fixed it and it would have been easier. But I was stubborn. Yeah. So I just plowed through dealing like 1 damage at a time. And it took for fucking ever.
Dude, I was lucky.
I was just like dodging behind pillars constantly.
I equipped Barrett with elemental and lightning for that, like before that. And I equipped ice on Aerith for the other part. It's I like had a crazy easy time. That fight was still hard. I can't imagine doing that fight. I would have just killed myself on purpose and redone it. Because Jesus, that fight was long with the stuff equipped. I can't imagine.
It took so long.
Can't imagine it.
I did it though.
So
I felt accomplished. I like in the middle of it, I paused and looked up how do you do this fight, and I'm like, oh, you use stuff I don't have equipped. Okay, back to slamming my head against this.
I'm gonna close off our talk quickly about just a blast from the past here regarding the death of Aerith. All right, this is Nomura talking with Kitase from Square. So Nomura says, did you know people have been coming up to me for years now saying you killed Aerith? Kitase to Nomura says, are you trying to blame me for that? Nomura says, okay, maybe I did kill Aerith, but if I hadn't stopped you in the second half of the game, you were planning to kill off everyone but the final 3 characters the player chooses. Kitase says, no way, I wrote that where? Nomura responds with, in the scene where they parachute into Midgar, you wanted everyone to die there. Kitase says, really? Wait, I'm starting to remember. Nomura, yeah, remember? You and Kazushige Nojima-san were excited about this. I was the one who said no way and stopped you guys. You wanted to kill everyone except the final 3 characters the player chose for the endgame. Nojima says, obviously I'm a scenario writer, so I wrote the script where Aerith dies, but for that decision, we talked it with the main staff. We talked about a lot how the story would turn out. Anyways, they wanted to give meaning to a death in the game. If it wasn't for Nomura and people blaming him for killing off Aerith, every character in that game would have been dead originally. I just want to put that out there, which is hilarious.
I mean, the end of that game is pretty apocalyptic.
Yeah. Yep. So it was almost
mostly
worse.
Midgar gets completely destroyed, and then like it kind of just cuts to 500 years later.
Yeah.
Like it's not really till Advent Children that you get like an idea of how life goes on at all.
Yeah.
Really.
And then there's that whole geostigma problem and blah blah blah.
Yeah. And like at that point, Final Fantasy VII is a marketing machine, so you got to have all the characters and stuff. It has to still be recognizable.
Totally.
You can't do anything too crazy.
Fuck, it even had Zack and Aerith.
Which is like, that's one of the reasons why you go, oh, Zack and Aerith gotta live, gotta make that money. These are marketable characters. We can do new stuff with them. Come on.
They are legit marketable characters.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like both of them a lot as characters. I'm big fans.
They're both
I'm
dead.
A big fan of both of theirs.
Zack was just a normal dude, which is insane for a protagonist for a fucking Japanese game. That's insane.
Yeah. It's so weird playing that game, and he has like no angst. He's just like here to be a hero. He just wants to do good things.
And then of course Aerith is literally strike me down, I will become more powerful than you could ever imagine incarnate.
Yes.
So there's also that. Like, it's funny because you can tell if somebody's played these games before and knows the lore by saying that like the most powerful character is Aerith, and if they agree, they've played it before and they know, and if they are like, wait, what? Then it's just like, oh, just you'll get there. Keep playing. You'll see her literally join the life force to save everything. So dumb. It's so dumb. Like actually dumb, but Aerith is great now, so I'm all for it.
Okay. So, if they have to reset you back to 0 for the start of a new game,
I'm gonna be kind of pissed.
What if Yuffie shows up and steals all your shit?
That's legitimately a pretty good idea.
The character who steals your shit. She's right there.
Do you think they'll make it so you can miss her again? I've known people who've never even known Yuffie existed.
That's amazing.
I wonder if they'll do
I definitely on my first playthrough, my friend did not get Vincent.
Wait, could you miss Vincent? Was he optional?
You can fuck up on the save. You have to get the safe code thing right and do the whatever minigame that is. Vincent's totally missable.
I don't remember.
You have to like go out of your way to even get him.
Wasn't that in Nibelheim though? Or was that a different area? I don't remember. It's been a while.
It's in the basement of the Nibelheim.
Yeah, in like Gast's lab, right? Or X lab or whatever.
there's like a safe code you have to do, and then he's in a coffin in the basement.
You're right. Holy shit. The coffin.
Because he's a vampire.
Yeah. Holy shit. I forgot all about that.
He's a sexy vampire.
I forgot all about the fucking coffin. Yep. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on the game. We got to wrap up.
It's great. I had a very good time.
It's game of the year material. Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Are you going to go back and play hard mode?
Yes,
eventually.
At some point. I'm not sure when. I definitely want to take some time to play other stuff right now, but I mean, I'm looking forward to get back to it. That combat is so fun.
Yeah, very satisfying combat for sure. This is easily probably, if not my game of the year, it's easily top 5. I don't know what. Also, this is a really weird year for video gaming in general. So I really don't know what's gonna topple it. If anything, it'll be a complete surprise.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game is absolutely phenomenal, and
as far as I can't think of a game that I was this hyped for that delivered.
That lived up to it
for me.
Yeah, for me it was Resident Evil 2 remake. This is surprising in a way that I wasn't expect. There's been so much shit called on this game where it's like, oh, it's probably just never gonna come out. Oh, only a little bit's gonna come out. Oh, it's episodic. Oh no, wait, now it's only half of the game. Blah blah. Like,
also they fired the studio that was making it.
Yeah, it's
back when CyberConnect was working on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's also when like all the plot's different in this. I like to imagine the first time they were making it, that plot was playing out, but that didn't work out, so they had to redo it. That's why everything has to change.
I wonder if that's kind of true.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. Anyways, yeah. If you've been listening to this and you haven't played it, high recommendation. There's not a whole lot coming out this year in general. Even if there was, this is like easily a 9 or 10 out of 10 game for me. Easily, without question. So
yeah. And it doesn't even have my favorite music from 7.
True.
And it's still so good.
It's still missing a bunch of really good stuff from 7, and it's still amazing for sure. But yeah.
It doesn't have the tactics game. Remember the tactics game that's in 7? You're protecting the eagle's nest.
That's so stupid. There's still time.
I loved it.
There's still time. I'm kind of hoping this is like an anthology.
I can't wait for Final Fantasy VII Tactics.
I can't wait for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. It's gonna be a great one. I'm in,
Part 5 is really where it's gonna hit.
The thing is that I really want to be alive for them to wrap this up, so they can't go too long. But
I mean,
I really need to see more of this. I really want them to take their time, but apparently, from what has been speculated or said, it doesn't sound like they're going to spend as much time on like building stuff as they did in this one, which makes sense because like with the world opening up, there's still more stuff to build on, but like not nearly as much like backstory, or not backstory, but like exposition they have to give. They can kind of start going a little more crazy with it. I want to see the gold saucer stuff.
Like, I mean, on the other hand, it's Square, and they took 10 years to put out Final Fantasy 15. Or Final Fantasy 13 Versus. So, things can happen. The next step of this is it's like, in some ways it's an easier task, in some ways it's a harder task.
Yeah. Well, as long as I'm alive, it doesn't matter to me. So, hopefully we'll be having another discussion in 10 years about the second part of this thing.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening.
Tomorrow's another day.
And we'll see you next time.
Peace.